Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss the top 10 engineer to order manufacturing ERP systems in 2025. So let's dive right in. My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent vendor agnostic ERP, CRM, and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, change management, as well as technology procurement. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is the top 10 engineer to order manufacturing ERP systems in 2025. We have published this list for the last couple of years. So generally, we try to incorporate as many updates throughout the year with a specific list. And in this one, we have done that as well. Sometimes there may be changes with the ranking, sometimes they might not. But we always recommend that you always review the most recent list because that's where we are going to have the most learnings as well as the most updates related to any solutions or the vendors. So this list is very specific to engineer to order, and there are many different manufacturing modes. In this particular case, when a company will have the heavier engineer to order manufacturing processes, this list is going to be relevant for that. Now, these solutions may be able to support other manufacturing types, mixed mode manufacturing, etc. But predominantly, we are evaluating the engineer to order manufacturing ERP capabilities. Now, as I touch each of these solutions, that's where you are going to know whether a solution is going to be relevant for a specific micro vertical or for the size. So pay close attention to the comments. Some more things related to ETO. So overall, as far as the ETO mode or ETO capabilities go, generally what you're looking for is extremely heavy engineering processes, meaning you are going to have very heavy engineering involved with your product or projects, whatever you might be manufacturing. Now, some people might argue that these are also, for example, let's say there might be overlap with project manufacturing. It's always likely that these modes are going to have some overlap, but for the most part, as far as the scope of engineer to order mode goes, in this you are going to have a lot more engineering involved in the front end of the process. Now, this engineering could be mechanical engineering or the electrical engineering. In both cases, you are going to have different CAD, different PLM that is going to be utilized. Some systems may be able to support both of them. They might have slightly more hybrid support, but others are going to be dedicated to one specific mode. Again, when I discuss each system, I'm going to touch on these capabilities. Now, when you look at the engineer to order capabilities, you are also going to have the customer collaboration component. Sometimes customers are collaborating offline, but some companies will require this collaboration capabilities in some sort of tool. Now, these days, companies may use something like Smartsheet, but then configuring these processes in something like Smartsheet or Monday.com is going to be extremely complicated because you are looking at very heavy data exchange. In some cases, these CAD tools or PLM tools may have that collaboration capabilities as well, but for the most part, the scope is going to be limited to engineering workflows, which are slightly front-facing, than the ERP workflows. Generally, ERP workflows are going to be relevant when you finalize that BOM from the engineering perspective, and now you are pushing that to formalize that either as a product because you want to formalize that model, or you want to push that for the actual production or manufacturing. That's when the ERP is going to take over that process. Some of these solutions may have the CAD PLM baked as part of the suite. So it's going to be much easier integration overall, but other may not have that. Now, overall, from the manufacturing mode perspective, projects, jobs, or sometimes there could be mixed, workflows that might be part of the engineer to order. In terms of the industries, you might have construction industries, which might come across as more of the engineer to order manufacturing, but they have specific nuances. So for construction, you are going to require very specific PLM, very specific capabilities. The kind of things that you are going to be needing there, it could be different. So that's where you need to pay close attention to whether you are closer to construction. If you are that, then you probably need to look for other products than the real project manufacturing. And again, in these cases, in these manufacturing modes, there is always going to be a little bit of overlap. So that's where you need to understand how engineer to order differs from everything else. And that's where you might require a little bit deeper analysis. But for the most part, this particular list focuses on specific engineer to order capabilities. Now, the criteria that we have used to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy. If the aim of these acquisitions is to acquire engineering or engineer to order centric capabilities, then they are probably going to score higher. Then we look at product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy. And now we are also looking at AI capabilities. So those are going to be some of the factors that we have used to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. So number 10 on our list is rootstock. And rootstock would be ideal for SMB ETO companies, especially the companies that are going to be very heavy users of Salesforce. And there are companies that are going to be very customer experience centric. They will have very thick CRM processes. Now, that is not to say that every single engineer to order company is going to have a CRM or CRM heavy. The reason for that is because they might require, or their workflow may start in a CAD system or a PLM system. If that happens, they might not even have a real CRM. They might have the CRM module of the ERP that is acting as their CRM. So not in every case you are going to have this scenario, but let's say if you are going to be slightly more either machinery shop or industry 4.0 companies, sometimes these companies argue that they are not necessarily engineered to order. They are almost like service-centric verticals, but for the most part, they are going to have heavy engineering involved. So they have to be engineered to order overall from the process perspective, but at the same time, they are going to be very heavy with the usage of Salesforce, just because these are very long-standing deals. It takes long time to close them, so they need to track them inside Salesforce. So that's where rootstock is probably going to be the right fit. Some strengths from the rootstock perspective. This is the native integration you have overall from the Salesforce perspective. So the whole experience is going to be very Salesforce heavy. If your users are very used to of using that platform, they are going to appreciate that experience. Now, some verticals, especially, for example, let's say if you look at medical device, in those cases, you are going to require very different ETO capabilities. For those, the rootstock would be a great fit. And the CAD integration, as well as other integration that you are going to require from the ETO perspective, they are probably going to be third party. Some of the other tools that we have on the list, they may package this as part of the suite itself. So then you don't have to worry about the integration. In this case, you are going to have some more vendors involved. So you are increasing a little bit of vendor risk just because they are owned by the third party. Now, limitations. So some of the engineer to order may be very project centric, some might not be project centric. So if you are going to be very long standing project, the way your workflows are organized, if that is the case, then rootstock may struggle a little bit just because they don't have those rich WBS or milestone-centric capabilities. They are developing that. They might release them at any minute, but as of today, they might not be as rich as proven in terms of the capabilities. And we are tracking these systems on a daily basis. So if they are going to develop, for the most part, in the next year's list, we are going to mention that now rootstock has much deeper capabilities, or any other systems on this list are going to have much deeper capabilities in any specific area. So now the other limitations to keep in mind as far as rootstock goes is when you look at the total last mile capabilities, mixed mode manufacturing capabilities, they might not be as strong as some of the other manufacturing products that we have on this list. And the multi-entity capabilities may not come across as natural, even though they have multi-entity capabilities. It's just that the way you might want to see them from the ERP perspective, they are not going to be similar to that. It's a different experience because the way rootstock product is designed, it has to comply with the constraints of Salesforce, which is a very different system. It was never designed as the ERP. So rootstock it still assumes those constraints, and that's why the multi-entity functionality may not be as natural as how you might be able to see with the other ERP systems, or what your assumptions might be with respect to the multi-entity capabilities. So that's number 10. Number 9 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. Now, compared to rootstock, Oracle Cloud ERP is a much bigger system. It does really well with the larger workloads, very large companies, when they are trying to acquire this more for the financial global consolidation as opposed to plant specific or the operational capabilities. So that's where the real differentiator is going to be between these two systems, rootstock and Oracle Cloud ERP. So if your goal is going to be to create that financial ledger globally, Oracle Cloud ERP could be a great fit. It's going to have some engineer to order capabilities, but it may not have as deep operational capabilities as you would find with the other systems. So again, depending upon the use case, if you are a very large organization and your goal is for the financial synergy across your global entities, then you might go for this, and then you might use another product. In the two-tier scenario, there could be a possibility. In those use cases, Oracle Cloud ERP might be a great fit. Some strengths to keep in mind. Overall, the robust finance capabilities. It has very deep financial layers for very large organizations. Sometimes those might not be as relevant for the SMB companies, but Oracle is going to have all of that for very large organizations. Also, it's proven for very large transactional workloads. For very large organizations, it might not be as deep overall from the operational capabilities perspective, but overall, in terms of the size of the organization, it has been proven with very large logos. So that's a huge plus. And overall, if you look at their ecosystem with large SIs or the accounting firms, resellers, they have very large ecosystem with that. So that's a huge plus. Some limitations to keep in mind is overall last mile capabilities, the depth with their operational capabilities, they might not be as deep, and they would require a lot more add-ons. And the reason why they require this is because they are trying to create slightly more generalized model covering many different business models, many different geographies. And when you do that, you have to compromise on your specific capabilities to a specific mode. In this case, we are looking at engineer to order. And overall, Oracle, where they win, they are not necessarily strong with their manufacturing capabilities, even though they have a lot of manufacturing companies in their portfolio. But overall, they are not necessarily a manufacturing solution. The manufacturing companies that might be using them, they are using them more for the financial ledger. At the plant level, they might have other systems that might be doing the heavy lifting. So if those are the use cases, again, Oracle is going to be a great fit, but it's not necessarily the manufacturing solution. And it's probably going to be overwhelming for SMB engineer to order companies just because the system is very large. And that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is Acumatica. Now, when you compare rootstock, Oracle Cloud ERP, Acumatica is probably going to be closer to rootstock in terms of the model, in terms of the size that it is trying to cater. Overall, when you look at Acumatica, Acumatica can accommodate or consolidate a lot of different business models as part of the same database, same product. Other products that we have on this list, they might not be able to accommodate as many business models from the diversity perspective. But then where Acumatica makes compromises is going to be in accommodation of all of those global workloads or global consolidation. Acumatica is probably going to be a better fit for companies that are looking for very limited geographic presence. So some of these trends to keep in mind. Overall, the BOM layers, the costing layers that you have from the Acumatica perspective are really rich. They do support sub-assemblies and things such as your Phantom, which is going to be critical for engineer to order centric verticals. And then again, those hybrid business models, when you talk about distribution, field service, and some of the engineer to order companies may have the distribution workflow, at least for the parts business, or they might have the field service business when they might be providing repairs for any of the devices that they might be producing or the equipment that they might be producing as part of the engineer to order workflow. If they have that, then all of those business models are going to be part of the same database. With other products, you might be dependent upon other add-ons or third-party products. So sometimes that could be a limitation, but with Acumatica, you are not going to have that challenge. The challenge or the challenges with Acumatica are going to be in overall the global capabilities. So if you're limited to a couple of countries, Acumatica is a great solution. Some of the last mile manufacturing capabilities, they might not be as strong as some other products that we have on this list. And Acumatica in general are probably going to require a lot more add-ons compared to other solutions on this list. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. When you look at SAP S/4HANA, it's probably going to be very comparable to your Oracle Cloud ERP. Rootstock and Acumatica that we have reviewed so far, they are probably not comparable with SAP S/4HANA because, again, the market segment is very different. This is designed for larger companies that are trying to consolidate a lot of global entities. These are very large companies in general. That's where SAP S/4HANA is probably going to be a better fit. Now, some strengths to keep in mind, overall, the financial layers that you have. For large companies, they are pure gold, but for smaller companies, they might not be as relevant just because, if you're going to have just a single entity, then probably SAP S/4HANA is going to be overkill. Now, other strengths to keep in mind is for large workloads, it's proven. So depending upon the number of transactions you have, some of the smaller solutions that we have on the list, they might struggle there. So that's where SAP S/4HANA does really well. And overall, when you look at SAP's ecosystem, especially in the engineer to order centric verticals, it's probably going to be stronger than Oracle. Oracle does not have as much presence in the engineer to order centric verticals. Some limitations to keep in mind is the last mile capabilities are going to be very similar to your Oracle, meaning you are relying on a lot of different add-ons, third-party capabilities. In general, SAP S/4HANA, the cloud version is not as ahead, even though they have done wonderfully well in the last couple of years in terms of the penetration of their cloud version. But still, even today, the number of installations that they have for their on-prem version is far more than their cloud version. And again, this is a very large product, so it might not be as relevant for the SMB ETOs. So that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain, or Finance and Operations. They keep changing their name. Now it is called Finance and Supply Chain. So it is ideal for, again, it's very comparable product as your SAP S/4HANA Oracle Cloud ERP, even though the logos that Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O has as of today, they are either going to be smaller in size or smaller in scope. The way they are utilized, sometimes much bigger companies may use Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, but primarily they are using that for the financial ledger. Overall, in terms of a scope, that is much lighter, much leaner scope compared to when you are going to host all of your MRP workloads as part of the same product. So here, with respect to your Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O, the strengths that you're looking at. Number one, when you compare this with SAP S/4HANA, Oracle Cloud ERP, they are slightly ahead in terms of their adoption of the cloud product, just because they were always ahead in their cloud capabilities. They were not as strong from the on-prem penetration perspective. They had a lot of install base, but it was not as comparable to other players, especially if you compare this in the larger customer base, compare this with Oracle or SAP, they were not as penetrated in those larger workloads, but overall they are doing much better in with their cloud product. So some other strengths to keep in mind, again, the global financial capabilities, the core ERP capabilities, they are going to be far stronger. The Microsoft Dynamics model is far more customizable. SAP S/4HANA is far more constraining. Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O in general is a very technical product, so maintaining that is going to require a lot more consulting expertise, a lot more IT maturity, but overall the model is going to be flexible. So if you are looking at spaces where, let's say, if you are a company which is going to be engineered to order, but you require very heavy customization for whatever reason, if that is the case, then Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is probably going to be better product. Overall, their global presence and ecosystem is a very strong point. So in some geographies, you might not be able to find a lot of products that we are discussing on this list. So the only choice could be Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. If you are in those geographies, you should be looking at this product. And if we did the list only for those markets, obviously this product would rank much higher compared to the other products, because they are not going to be available in those geographies, regions. Now, some limitations to keep in mind. Overall, it will require a lot more add-ons that will require much tighter project control, project management. And the reason for that is because the model is going to be complex. You require much deeper architectural expertise. So that generally increases the cost, that increases the risk as well. So that is going to be a little challenge with this particular product. And overall, you are not going to have as deep last mile capabilities, as well as the suite capabilities are going to be limited as well. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is IFS. And IFS is ideal for project-centric, asset-heavy, field service ETO companies. And some ETO companies are going to have field service flavor as part of their business model. Some might not have. Some might be very heavy on assets, some might not be. So if you have all of those elements, then IFS is going to be uniquely strong for you, because they have enterprise-grade asset-centric capabilities, field service-centric capabilities. So in some verticals, IFS is probably going to be stronger than some of the other products that we have on this list. So other strengths to keep in mind is it does support very complex products and projects. So even among ETO, if your jobs are going to be very short standing, they are not very complex, then IFS may not be the best fit. But if you have very complex products and projects that you are manufacturing, producing, then in those cases, IFS is probably going to be a better fit. For the smaller ones, it's probably going to be overkill. So that's where you need to sort of draw the line. What is your core business model? How are your projects? How are your products? What are you producing? Those are the questions that you need to answer to be able to understand whether a product is going to be a natural fit for your business requirement, business processes. Some limitations to keep in mind is, again, it's a very unique product designed for very specific market segment, as well as the process types. So it's probably not going to be the best fit for everything. It's just not as diverse. If you change your business model, then you might struggle with the product as well, just because it's not as diverse. Overall, the ecosystem is not as prolific as some of the other products that we have on this list. And again, this is probably not going to be the best fit. If you are buying something to act as the financial ledger, the role that your SAP S/4HANA Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO or Oracle is going to play for those roles, IFS may not be the best fit. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Site Line. And this is a much smaller product compared to your Oracle Cloud ERP, SAP S/4HANA, as well as Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO. It targets SMB-centric companies. Overall, the model is going to be limited overall in terms of the financial capabilities, but it's probably going to be deeper with the plant level capabilities. And overall, the way the model is designed for Infor Cloud Suite Industrial, it's slightly more fluid model compared to the regulated model that some other products may be able to support. In some industries, you do require very regulated model, because when you lose or when you are going to open up these capabilities for discussion, in some cases that might be a problem because people are not able to follow these processes. So some organizations are going to be very regulated from their engineering mindset. For example, aerospace, etc. They generally require very formalized model, with respect to their engineering as well as manufacturing. And one distinction is just the revision number. Sometimes that is mandated. The whole process starts from the revision number perspective. Infor Cloud Suite does not mandate that. If you want to have, you can have. So that's where the real distinction is going to be, whether you want the flexibility or you want a lot more control so that people don't violate those constraints. And then overall, the costing layers, the kind of the product layers that you're going to have, they are very detailed, they are very scalable. Infor Cloud Suite Industrial was designed for that. And then if you are going to be very embedded from your field service exposure perspective, again, not every single engineer to order company is going to require the embedded field service capabilities. But if you do have that, then Infor CSI does really well. Some limitations to keep in mind. Overall, the process manufacturing support is there with the product. Some engineer to order companies are going to require the process manufacturing capabilities as well. So in this particular case, the product does support that, but again, it's not going to be as strong as some of the other products that do really well from the process manufacturing perspective as well. And overall, the financial reporting is going to be slightly disconnected experience. It's not built as part of the product. I'm not sure if they are ever going to change that, but that's probably going to be a little limited with respect to the experience. And overall, the user experience that you are going to get from the product, it might not be as natural as some of the other cloud native systems. Now, that might change with the adoption of AI, because we are going to have very different user experience workflows, the way AI-centric workflows are going to be designed. But as of today, there may be a little bit of a steep learning curve when you are going to adopt this. This is what we hear from users when they look at the product. Once you start using, then it'll be a different case. But initially, when you are going to use the product, it might feel that it's not as natural as some of the other products. And that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN. So Infor Cloud Suite LN is a much bigger product than Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. The biggest advantages of Infor Cloud Suite LN compared to Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. Sightline is a very leaner product. LN is a much bigger product. So it is going to accommodate layers from the global trade, global compliance perspective. Those layers are not going to be available with the Sightline product. And that's a real differentiator between slightly larger product versus the smaller products. So here for the global ETO companies, when they are looking for the comprehensive manufacturing capabilities, or they are looking to consolidate a lot of different manufacturing processes globally, in those cases, Infor Cloud Suite LN is probably going to be a great fit. Overall, the BOMs, the costing layers, the way Infor Cloud Suite LN has, it's very similar to Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. So those are very similar products. The only difference is really those global capabilities that and the stronger mixed mode manufacturing capabilities as well with respect to your Infor Cloud Suite LN product. Some limitations to keep in mind. And again, this is going to be very similar to, for example, let's say we compare this with IFS. So if you are using this as global financial ledger, it's probably not the best product. For that, you can use SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, etc. But if you're looking for deep manufacturing capabilities, that's where your Info Cloud Suite LN is probably going to be a better fit. The UX issues that I mentioned with Infor products, those are going to be very similar with this as well. So that's probably going to be another challenge. And overall, ecosystem as well as marketplace, that's going to be very similar to other prescriptive product, and this is a prescriptive product. So that is another thing to keep in mind, and that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Dalmia Works or IQMS. And IQMS Dalmia Works is a very comparable product to your Infor Cloud Suite LN. It does have a lot of global capabilities as part of the product, even though the number of logos or where it is going to be proven is probably going to be smaller in size in general. IQMS does really well overall in your aerospace centric verticals or the plastic centric verticals. Both of them could be very engineer to order centric verticals in general. And overall, wherever you're going to have SolidWorks, just because the SolidWorks product and this product is owned by the same company, so there's going to be a lot more synergy overall in those two products. So that's going to be a great fit there as well. And some limitations to keep in mind is overall diversity of the product. It's designed for very specific manufacturing mode, designed for very specific industries. So it might not have as much diversity as some of the other products. Overall ecosystem is going to be weak, just as with any other prescriptive products. And again, this is probably not the best bet when you are going to use this as the financial ledger. So that's number 2. Number 1 on our list is Epicor Kinetic. And Epicor Kinetic, the reason why it is number 1, even though it is going to be slightly smaller in size overall from the model perspective compared to your either IQMS or Infor LN product. The reason why it is number 1 is because it is very well proven among engineer to order centric companies. They probably win a lot more than other products in the engineer to order centric verticals. They have a lot more logos. In general, these companies do require very complex inventory, at least in some verticals. For example, let's say if you compare this with something like, if it is going to be metal-centric ETO company, if they have that, then they're going to require very fluid sub-assemblies as well as phantoms. A lot of other products that we have on this list might not be able to do that. Also, Epicor Kinetic does really well in the regulated spaces, and that is going to be, aerospace is going to be one of them. The first requirement that they are going to have is the mandated revision number, and that's where Epicor Kinetic does really, really well. So that's number 1. If you enjoyed this video, we are also going to publish a report that is going to have much deeper analysis. So you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So you might want to hit the subscribe button. This podcast is also available in the audio form on major podcasting platforms. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.